gonna say welcome to all the hooers, but then I thought, oh, that sounds like whores, and I thought, well, I shouldn't use that on the podcast then.
Probably
Probably
not.
not. It's like,
No.
No, because besides, why would you just say hello to me?
right. It was,
Oh,
well,
you're not the only who are in this podcast.
Right.
right, yeah.
Hello and welcome to another episode of 3 Do Who. I'm Eric, and with me are my two favorite Whovians, James and Mike. How are you two doing?
I'll let Mike go first.
Oh, I'm doing just fabulous. I've been busy, but this is one of my favorite podcasts to work on because I don't have to work on it. I just have to talk.
I'm having one of those
Yeah.
days because we've hit the snow season here, and I woke up this morning, or rather, I was woken up this morning by two of my chickens who had never seen snow before, going, "What the shit is this?" Yeah.
Good impersonation too. That sounds exactly like a chicken.
Oh, it's weird. One of them is very deep throated. She's huge, and she's really young. But yeah, we've got 4 chickens, and they're all baffled by the weather at the moment.
I bet.
Yeah. So I've been doing a lot of kind of garden maintenance and chicken maintenance and lizard maintenance and
How do you maintain a lizard?
You feed her locusts every time that she glares at you, and you just about keep your fingers intact.
Oh, gotcha. All right then. Cool.
Is that the lady?
That's Madame V, yes.
Yes. Unless you guys have anything else to impart in our welcoming.
No.
Should we get on to news?
Let's
get to the news.
Okay, so in Who News, I picked up a really cool thing from the Whoniverse. They are going to release a 10th Doctor and Donna on vinyl set, which is awesome because I love vinyl. I don't even own any vinyl anymore.
Enough of your personal fetishes, though.
Right? No. Records.
Yeah.
Records.
Oh.
Vinyl records.
Yes.
Well, they are kind of a personal fetish too. Never mind. Anyways, Demon Records celebrates David Tennant and Catherine Tate's partnership as the Doctor and Donna with 2 audio-exclusive stories on vinyl, read by the actors themselves. The first one is called Pest Control, and it's read by David Tennant. The Doctor and Donna face monstrous insects and a ruthless robot exterminator when the TARDIS is lost in a battle on a distant planet. Doctor sets off in pursuit of his craft, while Donna finds herself accepting commission in the Pioneer Corps. Something is transforming soldiers into monstrous beetles, and she could be the next victim. And then the second story is The Forever Trap, read by Catherine Tate. And the duo finds themselves imprisoned in a complex of luxury apartments in space. I mean, this doesn't sound like prison to me, but
no.
Oh, it is.
Okay.
I know the story well, and it's a damn good one.
Okay. Well, anyway, the neighbors are a terrifying assortment of aliens, and deadly mobs wage battle in the corridors and the stairwells, and the travelers must cross paths as they search for the ultimate authority. Who or what lies at the heart of the edifice? And so the box set comes with an illustrated liftoff lid that features a 6 by 100 or features 6 140-gram vinyl LPs, 3 in transparent red and 3 in transparent yellow, each housed in a unique inner sleeve. 4-page booklets, sleeve notes by the author, and it looks really nice. I'll put the picture up on the screen, but yeah, it looks like a very nice box set, and I'm kind of happy that they're doing a cool box set of vinyls.
It's been something of a tradition actually for the last years that they've started releasing Who on vinyl again.
Nice.
They started with various soundtracks of the lost episodes, and then they progressed to releasing some of the big finishes on vinyl. And this is the first time they've done Tennant and Tate. The stories originally
Ooh.
came out when Tennant and Tate were on screen. So they're not actually new stories, they're just a new issue of them.
Just finally read, by them.
No, say
Yeah.
they came out on CD. They were
Oh,
they were
okay.
CD releases, and this is actually something that when we talk about the Whoniverse, because Russell T Davies has officially announced that it's called the Whoniverse because fans have been using it for years. Yeah, this whole idea that like Marvel invented the extended universe. We've had it for a decade.
60 years or so.
Well, I've got the exact figure coming up later on.
Oh, great. So I guess that brings us to our topic, which is we're going to talk about the recent 60th anniversary special, The Star Beast.
Oh,
So hope everyone out there has had a chance to see it.
Oh,
Yeah,
poor
poor
Meep.
Meep.
Meep has hurt his hand. To hell with this! Kill and destroy!
So I hope everyone out there's had a chance to see it. If you haven't, just be aware that this episode could bring up some spoilers. So go on, go watch it. We'll wait right here for you.
Yeah, come on, hurry back. Yeah, that's it, right. Okay,
Hurry back.
okay, they've had enough time.
All right, great. Now that you've seen it,
Thanks for coming back.
we can get started on our breakdown of the Star Beast. And I'm going to let James start first because he has some history about the Star Beast comic strip and how it all kind of meshes into this.
So we'll talk more about the comic strip later because the comic strip is quite a large topic. But the Star Beast, right? Star Beast is actually. Do you want me to talk about the comic first or the episode?
Dealer's choice.
Okay. If you don't know this, then basically in 1980, the Star Beast was a fourth Doctor comic strip. Okay. It was in what was then called Doctor Who Weekly, and it featured the Wrath Warriors, Beep the Meep, his beepiness. Of course, it didn't feature Donna. It didn't feature Rose. So what we got for the actual episode was a cut down version of the plot. Okay.
Okay.
Thankfully, they cut out the really embarrassing bits. Because basically there was one sequence in the comic strip where the Doctor shielded himself from a signal from a spaceship by nicking lead off a roof and wrapping it round his stomach. Because of course the signal would never have gone straight down, and
no.
Why he had to do that, I'm not going to say, because that didn't make it into the TV episode. They only had 60 minutes. They had to get the kind of the Donna return. They had to deal with the whole Donna memory issue, but they did get a pretty good essence of the Meep. I mean, that was a physical prop. That was magnificent.
Yeah. Oh, it's so well done. The actor who was in the suit and all the support puppeters, amazing job.
It was something like 3 people just to do the face.
Yeah.
I mean, they touched it up with crazy CGI, but if you've seen the episode, look at that scene where the Meep is hanging on to someone's leg. You cannot do it that well with CGI. That was
no,
a Meep,
definitely not
a Meep.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is, the fact that Star Beast was a comic strip does kind of say that Russell T Davies, he's ignoring the last 59 years of the extended universe. Because not only did the Meep turn up in the Star Beast, he turned up in a sequel called The Star Beast 2. I never said it was an imaginative title. He's cropped up as a guest appearance in all kinds of things. On audio, there has been a full-blown adaptation, an expanded adaptation, where they actually did get Tom Baker as the Doctor doing it.
Oh, nice.
They even, and this was the bit that kind of amazed people, because in the original comic strip, there's the newsreader sequence, and they drew the likeness of a 1980s newsreader. They actually got that newsreader to do the voiceovers for that sequence in the audio adaptation.
Excellent.
Yeah. It got a sequel audio. I mean, but the fact that
this is a huge story.
Yeah, the fact that the Doctor suddenly doesn't realize he's been through this many times before um, did irk me a little bit. But
Yeah.
um, at the time of recording, we've just had The Wild Blue Yonder, and we've got The Giggle yet to come. So I'm holding off on my full blown kind of thoughts as to kind of this erasure of the extended universe till after The
Right.
Giggle. There are loads of rumors doing the rounds. I'm not going to repeat them here because
Well,
there were loads of rumors doing the rounds about Wild Blue Yonder, and all of them were wrong. Um,
yeah. Well, I mean, that's the problem with rumors
yeah,
is often
They're
they're
wrong.
wrong.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, as an episode, as a TV adaptation, they did the kind of the merging of the Star Beast story with this new 3-part 60th story very well.
Hmm.
Mhm.
There's an aspect of it which is going to be picked up again with Shooty's 15th Doctor. Um,
Excellent.
so we may not even have seen the last of the Meep on screen.
I, I, I don't
I
think
don't think
so.
so
Just
either.
the way it ended. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But I said
just so
Russell T Davies has made it explicit that one aspect of the episode will carry on into Ncuti Gatwa's 15th Doctor.
Excellent.
It wasn't exactly difficult to work out which bit because the Doctor goes, that's cryptic. Yeah.
Mhm. Right.
um, and
Hmm,
yeah,
that's
it
cryptic,
went
yes.
down with Doctor Who fans really well. It got the highest drama launch of the year.
Wow. Excellent.
I mean, there's been a lot of debate in this country about the way or about the amount of importance that is given to viewing figures. But by modern standards, the viewing figures for Star Beast, the overnights were amazing. And we've got to wait a month before the full blown figures are released. Because these days in the UK, you've got the overnight, which is how many people watch it on TV. You've then got to factor in various repeats. You've got the iPlayer streams, and it's a really complicated situation, which is why it takes 28 days to tell us how well
Yeah. A
it
lot
did.
of data gathering.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
some bits of it I wasn't so keen on. Um, seriously, the Sonic screwdriver. Which is now basically more of a magic wand than Harry Potter carries.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It got some serious upgrades. I mean,
I,
it's,
I- yeah.
it has a force field now. It cuts through things
and it
silently and
generates a
quietly.
touchscreen computer in
Yeah.
Right.
there.
Display
I
touchscreen.
know.
Hey.
It's hey.
Yeah. I mean, the joke, of course, is that in the early '80s, the sonic screwdriver was deliberately written out of the series because it was proving too much of a
Hmm.
magic wand.
Mm.
Um, Last night's Wild Blue Yonder, I'm not going to spoil it, but yeah, I cheered at one point.
Okay.
And it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future. Um,
Yeah.
there was
I will say I am very disappointed that you cannot get one right now. The
the
toy.
stocking of the toy has been abysmally handled in this country.
Yeah, because it's like it's sold out
Yeah,
everywhere. And if people on eBay are scalping them for
the
$100 to $200
the
a piece, and they were only like
mm,
$30
the
toys.
company that produces them has, for the last decade or so, come in for huge amounts of criticism for the way they distribute their models,
Oh yeah.
because they do end up basically, if you're friends with one of the employees in the store that has pretty much the sole license to sell them,
Hmm.
you'll be told when the lorry is arriving. One scalper was caught on eBay with something like 40 identical boxes of the
Oh,
models.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And he
Yeah,
couldn't
I
sell
mean,
them. Yes.
yes. Yeah, I had similar problems when I tried to get Jody's
Yeah.
screwdriver. So the 13th screwdriver was so sold out over here. I happened to be walking through a Hot Topic,
Mm,
which is a chain we have over here. I don't know if they
mm.
made it over there or
No.
not. But they happened to have some, and they were the good ones with the rotating crystal.
Yeah.
So I bought one immediately because I was like, chances of me getting one at that time anytime soon, we're next to nil.
So other than the
Yeah.
Sonic, though, I was very, very happy with it. The character of Donna's daughter, Rose,
Oh,
So
so
good.
great.
So good.
absolutely.
I love her.
Basically, Russell T Davies is using these three specials at least. I mean, bearing in mind Ncuti Gatwa is very openly a queer actor.
Mhm.
He's not inhibited at all about that. He is using these specials as a big fuck you to all the transphobes, turfs, bigots, racists, everything out there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There have been moments where I cheered out loud because of things that RTD has put in. And yeah, isn't it great that he's actively referencing Jodie in the episode as well. In the
Yes.
Star Beast, it's like, yeah. So then I was Scottish, then I was a woman, and now I've got this face
Yeah.
again. Yeah,
Mhm.
that is going to continue. Russell T Davies has made it abundantly clear he's not writing anything out of history, except the
Good.
comic
Good.
strips.
Except the comic
Yeah,
strips. Yeah.
Well, it's
and once you two have given me your opinions, I've got the first of some very awkward questions for you.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So Mike, why don't you give us your
Well,
recap?
I like the episode. I like the beginning, the recap explaining the relationship between the Doctor and Donna. It was important, especially if people were just first coming to the series
Yeah.
and hadn't
Or if
seen.
it's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been two
Yeah.
doctors ago,
Yeah.
and what,
Three.
4 years, 5 years, three doctors
3.
ago.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Three.
Yes,
Yes.
3 doctors and 13 years.
13 years. So yeah,
Yeah.
so the opening graphics. I love the opening graphics. Going through the time tunnel is awesome. The fact that it's skidding along the outsides, and the new old Doctor Who symbol is back. The
Mhm.
square. I like that, was always a classic. I like that one.
The
Uh,
the the emergency, we don't have a logo for the current crop of Doctor Who logo.
right. Yes.
True.
Yes. And then the fun. I thought was funny. There was a lot of cute comic little moments throughout the episode. It's like, okay, oh, it's a spaceship crashing. Everybody takes out their phone, they record it, and then they go back to laughing and chuckling and going about their business. Nobody rushes to the scene. It's like, oh, does this happen all the time in London? Just things just
Sorry,
crash.
have
It's
you
like,
not watched
okay,
the last 60 years of Doctor Who? That
Yeah.
happens every
every
bloody day
time.
in
It's
London.
like,
Brit
something weird is happening.
British
Like,
people
they're just not,
don't react
I mean,
to
you've
spaceships
got to
crashing
remember
in
that
London.
in
clearly,
the
yes.
70s, in the unit days, London was evacuated because it was invaded by dinosaurs.
Well, that's
We
true. So
Mhm.
they
don't give
don't
a
care. Yeah.
damn anymore.
Right.
Unit will take care of
Yeah.
it. Don't worry about it.
Yep, yep, yep. And I could not for the life of me figure out who the fuck Neris was.
Oh, Neris is a
A
friend.
friend of
Neris is
somebody's.
a running
And an,
joke.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering if that. I love the fact that mom doesn't think that Donna's pretty. She's like, "You get the prettiest daughter, right, mom?" Oh, oh, sure, yes, absolutely. I'm like,
I love
yeah,
How
I love Donna's mom.
yeah,
how is she not aged in 14 years though?
right, exactly.
She looks the
She does.
same.
Yeah, so
So
much the
much the
same. Yeah,
same.
What was irritating is she didn't even have a portrait in the attic. We went to the attic and there wasn't a portrait of Sylvia Noble up there.
so and then the other thing that I was it's funny because some of the aliens on Doctor Who speak their own language and the Doctor has to interpret, and other aliens speak, I guess, the common tongue of the universe is English.
Um,
Because
Well, they've explained this though before that the TARDIS
the TARDIS translates,
kind of
yeah.
it translates
translates for
for
everybody.
everybody. But how far of a radius though?
Basically as far as the plot requires, the same as
Okay, I
from
see.
like,
Yes.
Got you. Okay,
I think it's plot based, yeah.
it's, it's
and
Doctor Who, it's plot based.
and I have to say the tiny little woke agenda asking the meep its pronouns. It's like, okay, and I understand the plot point. It was
Yeah.
the fact of the matter is that the doctor refers to himself as the doctor, really doesn't have a pronoun, he, she, it, they. So he's just, I get that, it's just that. And then I thought that,
Well, that was kind of setting up the whole
Right.
transgender
yes,
climax.
yes,
Well, yeah,
it
and for me, like, it took me to it took me till almost the end to really realize, oh, she's actually she's actually a trans person. And I was just like shocked because she is so beautiful.
Hmm.
It was like I immediately said, "Oh, woman,
Yeah.
she's
You
amazing."
talking about the Meep?
Uh, no,
No,
no, Rose.
Rose.
Rose, right? Yeah, Rose. Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Jasmine Finney.
Yep. Yep.
yes,
Yeah.
great actress.
Yes.
Um, I love the fact that the Rarth warriors are hilarious, especially when they're in the courtroom scene.
Hmm.
Hello, my name's
Yeah.
Sergeant so and so, and this is Lieutenant. And so, these big nasty people with claws on their hands, like, "Hello, I'm just so and so." And then when Dad walks in, when Sean walks in, and there's an alien, and everybody's screaming, hollering, he's like, hey, everything smells great. What's going for dinner? And
Sean is great.
yeah, he's just like
I just
nothing.
love him. He is so like nothing
Nothing
phases
phases
him.
him.
He's
Nothing
he's just
phases him.
100%
Mm.
supportive dad, and that's
Yeah,
it.
I have to say I really think that Unit Tower looks like Stark Tower, just a little bit.
Mm.
How
Uh,
did Kate manage to get a new tower, given that she's blown at least the last one
right?
up?
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
well,
Uh,
she is Kate Lethbridge Stewart.
right. And I had to say the other thing that just it cracked me up. Even I even watched it a second time. I've watched this episode twice now. Even the second
Me
time,
too.
the whole Star Trek techno gibberish about launching
Mm.
this and tickle the speculators and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. It sounds like the writers just went ape shit on funny words to use to talk about spaceship launching.
Again, have you not watched the last 60 years? That's
No,
the
no,
standard
That
I
dictionary.
have, but it
but
was
yeah, it was on
so
steroids for that episode.
concentrated. It was just like 5 minutes of
Yeah.
flip the
Well, remember
actuator thingamajiggy, whatchamacallits, and
you had two doctors at the same time because
yes,
technically once he woke Donna up, she was the doctor again,
right.
or the Doctor
The
Donna.
Donner Doctor, yes. And then of course, the foreshadowing, as you said earlier, well, that was cryptic about talking to the boss, like, ooh,
Hmm.
and then it was hard to hear, and only because I put the subtitles on for the second time I was watching it. The cloister bell was ringing as the ship was burning at the end,
Mm.
and I really couldn't hear it, but the closed captioning said cloister bell ringing, and I was like, oh, that's never good. The cloister bell ringing is never, ever, ever good in the Doctor Who universe. It usually happens just before he regenerates, first of all, or they regenerate, and then whenever there's danger, which is funny to me because every adventure is danger. Why isn't the cloister bell just going off constantly? And that's pretty much my recap of the episode. I mean, I enjoyed it. I really looking forward to the next what's the next one called? The
Wild Blue Yonder.
Wild Blue Yonder. Yes. So that's out already. It's Sunday here in America, and it came out last night.
Mm.
I could have watched it last night, but I thought I'll wait till after this recording.
Yeah, because I want same here. I wanted to rewatch so that I don't completely miss anything that I saw the first time and
And I didn't want to
forget
taint
to
today's
mention it.
recording about the first episode by watching the second episode and having
Yeah.
spoilers come in. So
Yeah.
yeah. But apart from that, I'm happy that Doctor Who is back, and I hope that they don't take a long siesta again in
Well,
between
they have
series.
already started filming Ncuti's second series.
Yay!
Nice.
So they haven't
Good.
even shown his first ever episode, and they're
And they're
already
shooting.
filming his second series.
See, I like that because those long
Yeah.
pauses in between they're killer. They're just terrible. So,
Yeah.
was there anything else, Mike?
Nope. That was my recap.
Okay,
Yeah.
so my recap: Once Upon a Time, Lord. That is just such a classic, 10th Doctor
Mm-hmm.
type of line. I love
Yeah.
that, and just David reading that just gave me chills. I loved it. Also love the new opening sequence. So I'm there with you. And David, God, he still looks amazing as the Doctor.
He does.
I
He
mean,
does.
All I'm
yeah,
going to say is,
even it.
my very, very, very itty bitty tiny spoiler. There is a scene of him running in last night's episode from the behind. Freeze frame.
Freeze frame. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, he still looks amazing. Even if Donna said you can wear a suit like that up to the age of 35 and no more, which is classic Donna. I mean, they really just fell right back into their
Yeah.
characters.
Mhm.
Just so it was like, it was like putting on a comfortable pair of shoes. They were just so funny together.
Mhm.
Rose is fantastic. Love her. Totally love the fact that her family supports her transition. She's, just amazing, and the family's amazing. I think we need to see more stuff like that, because it just, there's always so much like negative stuff, for people who are trans, and for them to be able to see, a family that just functions together as a family, it's pretty cool.
So, wait, I have to ask a question about Rose. So, it just dawned on me, Rose is trans, and
Hmm.
she has well, she's neither, by the end of the episode, she says,
Right.
"I'm neither." But was she Jason to start with? So she's trans male to female,
Yes.
and that's why she
That's why
Yes.
the
chose her
kids
name.
were.
That's why the kids were
Yes.
saying, "Give us a kiss, Jason." Okay, now it's all
Yes.
coming together. Okay.
Yeah, I almost missed it the first time too.
Well, I totally missed it the first time. I picked it up the
Yeah.
second time. I was like, "Oh," and it didn't dawn on me until just this moment.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
the
hence
Roth
why she is
Warriors
so picky
remind.
about pronouns.
Yes. Yeah,
Ah.
the Roth Warriors remind me a lot of the aliens from the Fourth Doctor era, so I think that was just a nice nod and a touch to it. Um, they just they're so cool. I love them. Again, Sean, the dude is just like unflappable. You know, anything, as long as his family's okay, he's just cool as a cucumber. I really love that. Um, I actually kind of loved the new sonic screwdriver, uh, gimmicks, because I just thought, it's fun. It's something new we haven't seen from them. Although, yeah, it is a magic wand.
Mm.
I like that they deadlocked him towards the end, so he couldn't use the sonic and had to actually do things by hand, which was nice.
Which
I mean, that's why the deadlock was
Yeah.
invented, because the screwdriver keeps just overpowering everything.
and can we talk about the magic coat? The magic
His pockets are bigger on the inside.
they
He said
have
that
to
during.
be. I mean, because whatever
It
but he
was.
knows exactly where to reach to get what he wants.
Mhm.
Right.
Well, he said something about that in one of the Doctor and Donna episodes, the Christmas one,
Um,
Okay.
the first one they were in,
no, the
or the.
magic coat. I'm going to step in on this
Okay.
because the magic coat hasn't yet been explained, and potentially
Uh-huh.
there's going to be a big bit about it in The Giggle.
Ah.
Because if you
Nice,
think
nice.
back to the actual regeneration from Jodie to David II,
Mhm.
unlike
Hmm.
in all the other regenerations, the clothes are seen to burn away, and
Right.
Yes,
Yes.
so
that was something that kind of stuck in my head too, because that was different. Because normally the Doctor ends
yeah.
up in the old Doctor's
So
clothes.
Mhm.
not only do we have the mystery of why has this face come back,
Why did his clothes come back?
why has the
Yeah.
clothes changed? What is actually going on? This is
Right.
not 3 individual specials. This is
It's
one
one.
special.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Broken up into 3 parts.
Yes.
And then something that I didn't like, I thought the double dagger drive is just kind of like a really overly evil way to launch a starship. I
It's from the
mean,
comic
it
strips.
doesn't seem like a.
It's actually from the comic strips. The comic
Well,
strips.
that explains a
Yeah.
lot,
Mhm.
because yeah, that is just such an over the top evil way to launch a
Oh, that's
starship.
tame compared to the comics.
Oh
In the
wow.
Star Beast, the Doctor was strapped to the outside of it.
Oh
Ooh,
my.
Yeah.
Well. Hmm.
that is over the top
Mhm.
evil. So yeah, I thought the Meep was really well acted and performed. The actor in the suit and all the performers helping, and Miriam Margolyes did an awesome job voicing the Meep. I really
And
liked her
whoever
voicing of
edited
the
out
Meep.
all the swearing from her studio sessions, Miriam
Yes, she's
Margolyes is
she is not averse to dropping an F bomb,
Oh. Yeah.
or pulling her breasts out to cheer up the audio, or the crew.
mm,
Okay then.
She there's a if you look for Graham Norton's one of Graham Norton's interviews with Miriam Margolyes, uh they make mention of the fact that she took one of her breasts out during a filming of something to basically break the tension and cheer up the crew. So
Well, in America, you'd go to jail for that, but okay.
yeah, well,
in England, you confess to it on a chat set and you get a round of applause.
Oh,
yeah,
there
yeah.
you go.
Yeah, she
Perfect.
is.
All right.
But given that she is herself of the LGBTQ family, she was the
Yep.
perfect choice for it.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
also, it means that the Meep has now been voiced by a male actor and a female actor.
Ooh,
Yes.
okay.
Because in
There
the
you go.
audios,
Nice.
it was voiced by a man.
Hmm.
Mm. So yeah, the Meep having two hearts is interesting.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious about that. And then Tom's wig coming out of the magic coat
Mhm.
was brilliant. I love that.
A throwback to Stones of Blood, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Indeed, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I was so happy to see that. I was like, "Oh, that's so nice." They give a fourth Doctor nod in there. Um, and then the boss. I mean, what does Bruce Springsteen have against the Doctor?
um, it's also weird because everyone is saying, but there was a villain in the 70s who was actually called Boss.
Yes.
It's just like,
Yeah.
I was just thinking all I could think when
yeah.
the Meep said that was Bruce Springsteen. What does he have against the Doctor?
They're gonna
Uh,
have a boss level show where they're just shooting at the
right.
boss for 40 minutes, just
My goodness. Yeah, the new interior of the TARDIS is, to quote Donna, gorgeous. Um,
I
and
have to wonder if David Tennant had seen it before he filmed in there, because his reaction to the interior was so genuine that
No, that's just
it's
David
kinda like,
Tennant.
I know, but it was just so, it was almost like he had never seen the set before, and he
What
was
it
just
was
running around
apparent,
saying, "This is
yeah.
awesome." He turned into a
Apparently, that
twelve-year-old
was
in a new house.
his idea. So it wasn't the first time he had seen it.
Mhm,
He was the one who insisted on doing the racing around the control room and up and
mhm.
down the ramps. He absolutely insisted on it. I've got one,
well, I mean, that's
yeah, I've
him.
got one
He's
concern
just so
about that
funny.
control room.
Mhm.
Is it's very big.
Yes.
Hmm.
They're going to have to really come up with some creative ways to stop it being empty.
Yeah.
I mean, because it.
Well, I think part of it, the lighting really does help.
Oh, the
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 fact
the
that
little
each
circlets,
each
the fact that they
roundel
change
can
color,
be
and yeah,
controlled separately.
Yeah.
yes. It definitely gives it a lot more interest on the interior,
Yeah,
and I mean, as big as that set is, I know they're not going to change it for a while because that set had to cost
yeah.
millions. It's
So I say
very,
my
very
only
impressive.
concern is harking back to when Matt Smith had a similarly sized control room, and they
Yeah,
Mhm,
did not use it as a large space. They basically kind of just did tight shots around the console all the time.
mhm,
yeah.
mhm.
Well, I love that there's, you can actually see doors around the
Yes,
TARDIS now, so maybe we'll get to see explore more of the TARDIS, you know, like they did in the old days, because the console room is awesome.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's so much of the TARDIS that's left unexplored, and I think really I'd like to see us go back into
There
the
has
TARDIS a bit
been
more.
a publicity shot released of Shooty in the console room, which suggests
Hmm.
that it's going to get furniture. I'm not. If you haven't seen the picture, I won't say what has turned up in the console room because when I saw
Mhm.
it, I just laughed my bloody head off.
Nice, nice. Well, I mean, as you can see,
Yeah,
there's some furniture in the TARDIS
yeah,
background
but
I've got.
not the item that is in the background of the shot of Shooty
Ooh,
in the
uh,
TARDIS
Ah,
console room.
okay.
nice.
I
I
I
will
I liked
have to
Matt
look.
Smith's doctor when he mentioned that there was a swimming pool room in the TARDIS, when he came out after crashing when he first regenerated, and
And
he's
the
all
swimming,
wet. She's like, "Why did you wet?" He says, "I fell in the swimming pool."
and
So
then it's like, yeah, why are you tired? I've climbed out from the library. That's where the
right,
swimming pool is now.
right, yeah. Yeah, exactly, yep.
Well, it's convenient if you wanna, if
Read
you
and
wanna
Yeah,
swim.
swim a few laps and
Yeah,
read.
yeah.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
Oh, nice. So that's my recap of the Star Beast, and I loved it.
Mhm.
I mean, it's Doctor Who. Even if there are nitpicky things that you don't like, it's still Doctor Who.
Mhm. Oh,
So,
yeah, it's still a lot of fun. Still tons of
Yeah.
fun.
so a question because I'm not sure how well this is known in America.
Okay.
How many
Hmm.
adventures has the 14th Doctor had now?
How many
I
adventures?
am unsure.
Wow. I have no idea.
Because this is actually not his first official story.
Oh,
Okay.
And you wanted some trivia, so we're going to kind of start this and then kind of like rewind considerably. At the end of Power of the Doctor, if you remember, that was last October.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
left a 15-month gap between Jodie leaving and David starting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In that time, there was a 14-part comic strip for the 10th Doctor. Sorry, the 14th Doctor.
Nice. 14th, yeah.
Yeah.
Slap, slap, slap.
It's hard not to
Yeah.
refer to him as the 10th.
Yeah.
It's officially endorsed by RTD to the extent that it actually starts literally as Power of the Doctor ended. It starts with the 14th Doctor on that cliff top.
Ooh, nice.
So there's a 14-part comic strip called Liberation of the Daleks.
Wow. Okay.
And then, oh boy, RTD did something not particularly well received.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. We have a charity telethon each year in the UK called Children in Need.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
Doctor Who has always had a very good working relationship with Children in Need, to the extent that when David Tennant first appeared, between that regeneration and the start of the Christmas invasion, Children in Need got an exclusive scene set inside the TARDIS.
Ooh.
So for this year's Children in Need, there was a new scene written called Destination Skaro, which
Okay.
has, without giving away too much, rewritten the history of one of the Doctor Who creations, and it did not go down well. Fandom
But
got very divided. Russell T Davies said why he did it, but an awful lot of people who were impacted by the bit he was talking about didn't really kind of, appreciate what he had done. So if you don't want spoilers, I'm going to try and summarize this in 1 minute. So kind of fast forward till I kind of go, wee! Hey, basically, he rewrote the history of Davros.
Oh, wow.
Davros was taken out of the life support chair and is now a fully able-bodied man walking around and kind of still creating the Daleks for some unknown reason. Russell T Davies said that he was doing it because he didn't like the kind of the trope of disabled equals evil. But an awful,
I can see that.
awful lot of wheelchair-bound Doctor Who fans said, "No, we liked Davros.
yes.
We didn't have a problem with it."
Well, going back to the Star Beast, we did get a wheelchair-bound unit scientist who was awesome. I almost forgot to mention her.
Yeah. What I haven't pointed out is, by the way, she fulfilled the tin dog role, literally.
Yes.
She fulfilled K9's part in the Star Beast.
Oh, no.
I know! Right, that's a bit for the spoilers for Destination Skaro, so you can kind of stop fast forwarding now. But yeah, it did not go down well. It's caused a lot of controversy, and Russell T Davies is determined to keep his foot in his mouth and is not backing down.
Well, I remember when he said when he came back, he says, "I'm going to do things differently, and you're not going to like some of the things I'm going to do." I remember him saying that. He said that on an interview here in America, and so he's holding true to that. He's doing things that people aren't liking. But he also didn't agree with the direction that the show went in after he left either.
No,
he had said that he didn't like that direction, and he was going to bring it back to his vision, which is fine. He's the showrunner; he can do what he wants, right?
So, given that these days the comic strip is official Doctor Who, Eric, you made the really dumbass mistake of asking me to do a little piece of trivia about the Doctor Who comic strip.
Hey,
I have notes.
I know. That's why I told you keep it between 15 and 20 minutes, because I know that if I left you unchained, we would be here all day.
It would be the Doctor Who trivia show. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'm going to try and keep it 15 to 20 minutes, but bearing in mind that Doctor Who is now 60, but the comic strip itself is 59. The
Mm.
comic strip
Okay.
started 1 year after Doctor Who started. So, 1964, in a children's comic called TV Comic, you got the first Doctor that vaguely resembles William Hartnell in the comic strip. Yes, my feelings about Doctor Who comics and artwork is interesting. In a story called The Klepton Parasites, TV Comic basically had the rights to the Doctor and the TARDIS, and not a lot else. So
Ah,
the Doctor gains two new grandchildren called John and Gillian, and basically, for quite some considerable time, the TV Comic is not allowed to feature TV stuff.
right.
So, prop number one. So, I didn't get a chance to sort these into kind of chronological order. TV Comic Annual, there is William Hartnell on the front,
Mm-hmm.
and so he was the Doctor. In 1966, however, things get really complicated because a second Doctor Who comic strip starts up as a yearly thing when the BBC release the Doctor Who Annual. So the
Mhm.
comic strips that
Okay.
feature in the
Yeah.
Doctor Who Annual are not the same as the comic strips in the TV Comic Annual. These are completely different. And if you think
Okay.
Doctor Who continuity is a nightmare these days, the 1966 Annual gets it off to a flying stop by completely buggering continuity left, right, and centre.
Alrighty then.
Yeah.
In 1966, as William Hartnell departs on the TV, Patrick Troughton takes over in the TV comic strip, in a strip called The
Mm-hmm.
Executioner. There is no in strip explanation as to what goes on. John and Gillian are still around, and basically, kind of, it is literally 1 week it's William Hartnell, the next week it's Patrick Troughton.
Oh, jeez.
Now, because they can't use anything from the TV series, they come up with their own mega villains called the Trods.
Okay.
The Trods
Okay.
last until 1966 because in 1965, a different publication gets the rights to produce a Dalek comic strip, the Dalek Chronicles, which give a background to where the Daleks have come from, including the history of their creator, Yarvling.
Wait, what? Yav-
Yeah, it wasn't Davros originally. It was a blue-skinned weirdo called Yarveling who created the Daleks.
Okay.
All right then.
However, in 1966, with that comic strip still going, TV Comic gets the rights to use the Daleks. So guess what happens to the Trods?
They go away.
Bye-bye.
They get blown up by the Daleks.
Of course.
Yes.
You then
The Daleks blow everybody up, though, so
Yeah.
that's no big surprise.
get a couple of years where Daleks turn up regularly. You get Cybermen, you get
Mhm.
witches, you get the Doctor basically kind of flying aircraft. And the comic strips in TV Comic are strange. They're aimed at kind of like pre-teens. They are utterly bizarre.
Okay.
Mhm.
They are great fun. They're not exactly particularly serious.
Okay.
We reached 1968, so I've got 59 years to get through in 20 minutes. This is a challenge. In 1968, we reached two landmarks. In TV Comic, you get a story called Invasion of the Quarks. Quarks have appeared in the TV series, and it's the first
Mhm.
appearance in TV Comic of Jamie, the first time a television companion appears in the TV Comic comic.
Okay.
Trouble is, in 1968, in the annual, which is also Patrick Troughton's first annual, you get Ben and Polly appearing without Jamie. And in fact, the battle between the annuals, who gets which companion and which TV comic gets which companion, carries on for a very long time. So,
Oh, jeez.
in 1969, Patrick Troughton leaves the TV series, but that leaves TV Comic with a problem. There is no new Doctor on television because John Pertwee doesn't take over till 1970, but they've got a window to fill. So they carry on with Patrick Troughton in a series of adventures post the War Games. And so Patrick Troughton actually regenerates twice. He regenerates once on television in the War Games, and then you find
And
out
then in
that
the comic.
actually he got exiled to Earth before John Pertwee, and there is a very famous infamous strip called The Nightwalkers, where basically a bunch of scarecrows turn out to be Time Lord agents who then regenerate the Doctor into Patrick Troughton. And it's just as well everything is kept secret, and that in the TV comic strips, of course, the Doctor never becomes a big television celebrity or anything. Oh my god. Right. We reach 1970, and John Pertwee finally takes over in TV comic in a strip called The Arkwood Experiments. Okay? And you would think that things would kind of, the television episodes are far more gritty, far darker in 1970. No, in 1971, TV comic features a comic strip called The Kingdom Builders, which features a time-traveling Earth mover. Yep.
Okay.
It's a time-traveling bulldozer. Now, the 1970s are a very turbulent time in the British comic strip industry. TV Comic stops publishing Doctor Who comics. Doctor Who is cancelled! Time number one.
Yes.
Believe me, this is going to... You should have a tally on the screen of how many times we get cancelled. But it's picked up by another publication called Countdown magazine. The comic strip goes from being 2 pages of black and white to being kind of like a double page, almost A3 spread, but it's also a much kind of more faithful to the TV series. The Master crops up quite a bit of time. But I'm not saying that, say, kind of it's turbulent, but in 1971, as I said, the Gemini Plan debuts in Countdown. By the time the Third Doctor leaves the comic strips, Countdown has been renamed Countdown for TV Action. Then it gets renamed to TV Action plus Countdown. Then it gets renamed to TV Action. Then it gets renamed to TV Comic plus TV Action. Then it goes back to TV Comic. TV Comic then becomes TV Comic plus Tom and Jerry Weekly. Yes, Tom and Jerry.
It's nice to see that Tom and Jerry got in there.
It's good to know
and helped with Doctor.
And just as John Pertwee leaves the series, Sarah Jane turns up in the comic strips. Okay. At the same time, in the same year, that the Third Doctor still has Jo as a companion in the BBC annuals. And prop number 2, TV Comic Annual. You'll notice, by the way, it's also got UFO in there. It's got the Persuaders in there. TV Comic, so Countdown was very big on TV comic strip adaptions. Right.
Cool.
So, 1975 was the Third Doctor comic strips are in the annuals. The Fourth Doctor was taken over in the TV comic in a story called Death Flower. All well and good. The second story in the Fourth Doctor TV comics is called Return of the Daleks, in which the Doctor's home planet is named as the planet called Jewel. Oh, God.
Jewel?
Okay. And
what does my cat have to do with this?
Same thing that Bruce Springsteen has to do with
Well, my cat is fairly evil. I'm wondering if this is
speaking of evil, the ongoing turbulence continues because TV Comic gets then renamed to the New Mighty TV Comic. In 1977, they dropped the new because it's been going a year, so it's now Mighty TV Comic. And in 1977, at the end of the year, as Leela joins the comic strip, Mighty TV Comic drops the Mighty and goes back to being pure, plain old TV Comic.
Comics.
Wow, and I thought we had problems with our comics here.
It's going to get so much worse. Hold your comments.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, wow.
In 1978, TV Comics stunned the comic industry by saying, we're not going to do Doctor Who comic anymore. But they still have a whole batch of issues that they have to have the comic in. So they take the Third Doctor comic strip and literally draw Tom Baker's face over John Pertwee's face and rerun the same comics. If we thought David Tennant not remembering the Star Beast was bad, Tom Baker singularly failed to remember about 20 adventures that he had in the comic strips.
Okay, all right.
Right. So, now it gets bizarre.
So now wait a minute. Was that because the comic strips were not actually part of canon at that time?
Comic strips up until Liberation of the Daleks have never officially been canon.
Okay.
But we've
All right.
got problems with the canon coming up. As I said,
Okay.
it's
All right.
been smooth running up until now.
Okay.
In 1979, Doctor Who is saved. Doctor Who is uncancelled when Marvel take it over.
Mm-hmm.
There is Doctor Who Weekly #1. Now, this being Marvel, it means that it is not just being written for the UK, you are also getting American style reprints. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
In the UK, it is published weekly, but the comics in America come out twice a month. So therefore, kind of the American versions are edited together versions of 2 episodes of the weekly comic strip, which means that basically kind of like every other cliffhanger is pretty lame because they're
Mm-hmm.
saving the big cliffhanger for the American print. They
Mm.
they run into problems though. The first story is called The Iron Legion, which has also been adapted as an audio. And then they forget that Americans are wusses. The second story in the second story in Doctor Who Weekly is called City of the Damned. But of course, in America, hallelujah, you cannot say the
Yeah.
word damned, so they have to rename it to the City of the Cursed, to the extent that they also have to then text over every use of the word damned with cursed, and it gets
Cursed.
confusing.
Yeah.
The third story.
Yes, this was during the time that we had the comics over here were getting very bashed by parent groups
Yeah,
and stuff, and
right.
yeah, we had a whole this is a dark ages for American
Mm-hmm.
comics.
Story number 3 is the arrival of K9, and it is the first time in the history of the Doctor Who comic strip that there has been a multi-Doctor story. It is called Time Slip, but I'm not giving away the twist as to why there are multiple Doctors in it. Instead, we get to
Ooh.
story number 4, The Star Beast.
Aha.
Nice.
No, not nice.
Mm.
Well, the comic book looks
The
nice.
comic book looks nice till you look inside it, and here is the Meep in all his blue glory.
Oh,
Aha.
he's very
Blue.
blue.
He's very blue.
Or
He looks
they
like a
are very
Smurf.
Yeah,
blue.
there is no
They're a Smurf.
there is no communication between the UK and the US as to what color should be done for what, leading to some very interesting choices through the years.
Hmm.
In the Star Beast, and this is something that I deliberately didn't mention during the episode bit, the Doctor gains his first comic strip companion because, like TV comic, the Marvel strips cannot use people that have appeared in the TV series. K9 being a robot, they get around it that way. So, Star Beast introduces the companion Sharon. So, your
Okay.
first real
Okay.
trivia question: why is the appearance of Sharon a landmark in Doctor Who?
I have no
Don't
idea.
know.
I'm so sorry, Martha. You were not the first person of colour to be a companion for the Doctor. In
Ah.
1980, the comics got there first, and they had a person of colour as the Doctor's companion, a schoolgirl called Sharon. Fudge, who was in the episode, is also in the comic strip, but he doesn't join the Doctor. The stories continue. Sharon eventually gets prematurely aged into kind of like a 20-something, purely probably because they wanted someone that they could draw that the Americans could perv over. Sorry. Um, she eventually leaves, and Tom Baker's final comic strip story is called The Neutron Knights, which acts as a one-part prequel to basically the entire of the Fifth Doctor's time in the comics, which started in February 1982 with a story called The Tides of Time, which takes place in the fictional village of Stockbridge and in hell. I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
which is going to be worse, a small English village or hell.
Mhm.
Well, you've lived in
Yes,
small English villages,
that's why I'm
so
undecided.
yeah.
Pretty much the entirety of the Fifth Doctor's run is an arc. Okay, It
Okay.
is seen
Cool.
as the golden years of the comic strips in the 80s, and Stockbridge will reappear in the comics. It will reappear in the audios. It gets referenced in the novels. Basically, the Fifth
Hmm.
Doctor era is really popular.
Hmm.
Fifth Doctor, by the way, for those of you who don't know, is the one who doesn't really look like that. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah,
He
he looks
kind of looks like that.
looks a
Yeah.
little bit, but not no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The
Wasn't
sixth
a big
Doctor.
fan of that Doctor either.
The Sixth Doctor takes over in a story called The Shapeshifter.
Ooh.
And oh boy, they still can't afford the TV companions, so they have to give the Sixth Doctor a new companion, a talking penguin.
I remember something about this.
It's brilliant.
I
He's
remember something
actually
about this.
Wow.
he's a shapeshifter. His real name is Arvan
Okay.
Tankdu. I think I can never remember it. But basically, he takes over as the companion. He is insanely popular as a comic strip companion. He has
Hmm.
also appeared in the audios and in the books. There was a big push to try and get him in the TV series. As yet, not happened. Boo! And the comic strips were so popular that Walker's Crisps even gave away mini versions
Aw.
of the comic strip. They did 6 of these. There was one in each multi-pack, and they have even
Hmm.
got little trivia questions on the back.
Nice.
Oh, how cute.
The comic keeps going in Doctor Who magazine, but guess what happens to the TV series?
Cancelled.
It's
Canceled
cancelled
again.
in
Yes.
1984,
Number
which means number 2, yeah, which means that the comic
Yeah.
becomes the ongoing adventures. Perry gets introduced, and actually, it is damn good. The final Sixth Doctor story is called The World Shapers. It features Perry, it features Jamie, it features the Cybermen, and it features men in rubber suits. But I'm not going to spoil it because it is a very controversial
Mm.
one. Um,
Okay.
Okay.
yeah. Thankfully, or not, depending on your point of view, the comic strips are not yet official canon. And certainly, this story has been kind of both referenced in other expanded universe stuff and completely overwritten in the other expanded universe stuff. Right. Seventh Doctor arrives on TV once the series is uncancelled by the BBC.
Hmm.
Story called Cold Day in Hell. Frobisher is still with the Doctor, but Perry has gone. There is then a change of production behind the scenes in Doctor Who Monthly, as it was then called. See, everything gets renamed in the British comic strip
Hmm.
industry on a regular basis.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, there are also, because of problems with the TV series being made and because problems with the comic strip being made, there are some unfortunate clashes in the continuity between them. Frobisher leaves, a new companion joins, and then in the next story, because there's even more behind the scenes problems, the new companion is promptly written out.
Don't.
The Seventh Doctor then continues doing some solo adventures, including a fantastic one called Planet of the Dead, which isn't just a multi-Doctor story, it is a multi-companion story.
Mhm.
And then we hit a story called Follow That TARDIS. It is the
Okay.
first time that the monk, sorry, it's the second time that the meddling monk has appeared. But
Okay.
Marvel, because they own the comic strips, use it to launch a mini-series featuring the Sleaze brothers,
The Sleaze brothers.
which bombs terribly. However,
I
Clearly,
would imagine
yes,
it would.
yes.
the reason they did this is because their previous attempt to do a crossover had succeeded incredibly well. The Seventh Doctor was responsible for putting Death's Head on the Earth.
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
Death's Head first appeared in Doctor Who magazine's Doctor Who comic strip and
Oh,
basically
wow.
ended up being taken to Earth by the Doctor. What an idiot. Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Seventh Doctor carries on. We get stories like Nemesis of the Daleks, which starts to acknowledge the series, the Doctor Who Weekly's own comic strip history. Features a character called Absalom Dark Dalek Killer, who was also in the books, who reappeared in the comic strips regularly, and who even had a 7-inch single released about him.
Wow.
I'm
Okay.
not joking. It is on YouTube. It is an experience. In
Okay.
1989, guess what happens to the TV series?
Canceled
It
Canceled
again.
gets
again.
Yes.
cancelled again. But bizarrely, not only does Doctor Who magazine carry on the comic strip, a second publication called The Incredible Hulk Presents also runs Doctor Who comic strips.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, 1989, the series ends. It is the start of what is officially known as the Wilderness Years. This is when Doctor Who was not being made on the television. And of course, no one really knew at the time what was going on. So the Doctor Who comic strip just carried on plodding along. And then basically in 1991, a series of novels took over, and they were seen as the official continuity of the Doctor Who series. This put the comic strips in a very difficult position, and basically a compromise was released saying, okay, you write the books, and we'll slot the comics in between them. Basically, the comics became pseudo canon, which
Huh.
resulted
Oh.
in things like. Sorry, I have a small collection of my own.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little,
I
yeah,
have,
teeny
I
tiny
have
collection.
65 pieces. I'm so
Oh wow.
unhappy.
Hmm.
Right. Unfortunately, they reach this compromise but forget to communicate, which means that we get two stories running in parallel where the Doctor visits an alternate Earth where the Silurians have taken over. Oh god, it's getting bad.
Okay.
And then, guess what happens to the Seventh Doctor comic strip?
It gets
It
canceled.
gets cancelled because
Canceled.
basically Doctor Who magazine don't know what to do anymore. They go to publishing a series of strips featuring the past Doctors again. These are
Okay.
received with mixed reception. Some of them are very good. Others feature space cows on the moon.
Okay.
However,
Well, I mean,
praise be America. America saves the day. America makes the Paul McGann TV
woohoo, we finally
movie.
did something right.
Yes. Which means the TV series is uncancelled. The Seventh Doctor is uncancelled. But then the comic strips need to somehow kind of justify everything that's going on. So we get a really beautiful age. It starts with a one off Seventh Doctor strip, which surprises the hell out of everyone because they've suddenly realised that the past Doctor strips were leading up to this.
Ah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It launches something called the Threshold Saga. At the end of it, Ace dies.
No.
It's okay,
Nice.
she's still in the books, only when she isn't in the books
Yeah.
because she's left, come back, and then kind of goes and shags her way around the universe on a time traveling motorbike. The Eighth Doctor then steps.
Was better than the bulldozer.
Yeah. The Eighth Doctor then
At least you can find parking.
gloriously steps from the TARDIS in a comic strip called Endgame.
Okay.
Who is the villain in Endgame? And think I would not be asking this if it was not relevant to something going on at the moment.
The Meep.
Would that be the Celestial Toy Maker?
Bingo!
Ah.
The Eighth Doctor meets the Celestial Toy Maker, gets a new companion called Izzy, who turns out to be a lesbian. Sorry, Bill, you were not the first lesbian companion that the Doctor has had. In the books, half the companions were pansexual, and there is even a lesbian kiss in the Eighth Doctor comic strips. Oh, yes, another publication is also running Eighth Doctor comic strips. The
Of course it is.
it is. The Radio Times, which recently celebrated 100 years of publication, is England's most famous TV listings magazine, and for 52 episodes, it ran a half-page Doctor Who comic strip each week. Those strips got referenced in the books, but were separate from the Doctor Who magazine ones. Things then potted along lovely. The Eighth Doctor was doing really well. You had 3 Eighth Doctors. You had the Eighth Doctor of the comic strips, you had the Eighth Doctor of the books, and you had the Eighth Doctor of the audios. What then happened to the Eighth Doctor?
Ooh.
It's the C
I
word.
don't know.
Canceled.
Cancelled because
Oh my
because
goodness.
Russell T Davies said, I'm bringing Doctor Who back and we're not going to use Paul McGann, we're going to use someone else. So the Doctor Who magazine comic strip basically ended the Eighth Doctor's run with a glorious Cyberman story called The Flood, which had the companion of the comic strip joking how good the Doctor would look in a leather coat.
Foreshadowing.
Yes.
Lovely. Welcome on board the Ninth Doctor, who did not have a particularly long television run and only was in the
Nope.
comic strip for
No.
1 year. But to show you how seriously they were taking the comic strips themselves also had Bad Wolf references in them. There was a
Nice.
much
Oh,
tighter
nice.
link between the Ninth Doctor and the TV series.
Okay.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
10th Doctor comes along, and if you think things were complicated before, hold on to your seats. It's about to go absolutely insane. The 10th Doctor appears in the Doctor Who magazine comic strip, but other people are interested in running the Doctor Who comic strips. A company called IDW produce a
Hmm.
whole load of
Oh, wow.
10th Doctor comic strips and
Hmm.
11th Doctor comic strips. But then they realize, oh, there's a whole kids market out there. We're not getting kids to read comic strips. So they produce the Doctor Who Adventures, which also features Doctor Who comic strips.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
IDW then eventually give up the ghost.
I've got an issue of that.
Yeah, IDW give up the ghost. And so, along with Doctor Who magazine, Titan publish. I'm running out of steam. Don't worry, we're at the 12th. We're nearly there.
Yes.
The 12th Titan basically gets the rights to do 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th Doctor stuff, but they run into problems, and a lot of plot arcs are still yet to be resolved. But they have done issues with Missy as the star, and they were also
Nice.
involved in
Mhm.
this year's multi-platform event called Doomsday.
Okay.
So that just about brings us up to date
All right.
Nice.
with a
Thank you.
couple of wonderful add-ons, and I've saved this to the end because I want to show this off as how wonderful Doctor Who fans are. We mentioned Children in Need earlier.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I love the Children in Need.
This is a charity publication. It was a comic strip version
Wow.
of one of the missing William Hartnell stories.
Nice.
Cool.
All profits to Children in Need.
Nice.
Excellent.
And to show that there is life in Doctor Who as yet, and when I say the expanded Whoniverse, there is a company called Cutaway Comics, and
Okay.
they have got the license not to produce Doctor Who comic strips, but worlds of Doctor Who comic strips. So
Oh,
far,
cool.
they have done comic strips featuring Omega. They have done ones featuring a character called Lytton. They have done one set in the world of Paradise Towers. They have got one coming up set in the world post Inferno. And there you go. I think I overran by about 1 minute, and I am now going to have a drink because, dear God, I need it.
Excellent.
Oh my.
59 years of comic
Wow.
strip history.
Right? No kidding. Holy mackerel.
You did great.
Do you know
Yep.
the really?
And you're only just a little
Do
red.
you know the really bizarre thing?
No, what?
This coming Thursday, the next issue of Doctor Who magazine comes out, and not a single person knows what the comic strip is going to be. Because, of course,
Ooh.
David is still officially on screen as the Doctor. Shooty hasn't started yet.
Right.
But without saying too much, it's going to be pretty bloody difficult to fit a new comic strip in there for the
If it,
14th
right. Yeah.
Doctor.
Short period
Yeah.
of time. Such a short window.
So unless it takes place between Destination Skaro and the Star Beast, welcome to a very unknown upcoming issue of the comic strip.
Wow.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
That's I mean, just it's mind-blowing how screwed up the the different entities and different renamed versions of the comic companies.
And I
Oh,
kept it
jeez.
simple.
Hmm.
Oh, I'm sure it was worse because I mean, even over here, we had so many comic book companies get absorbed by other bigger ones, and
Yeah.
then those get broken up and spin off into their own companies. It's the comic book industry is very fluid. There's just constant change
Yeah.
in it. Well, there used to be. Now it's pretty much just Marvel and DC over here.
And say it's still officially a Marvel publication, Doctor Who magazine.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, Doctor Who is now on Disney Plus, and
Which owns Marvel,
which means that,
but I'm not sure I'm not sure they own the comics yet or not.
But it does
I can't
mean
remember.
Yeah, they do.
that Donna and
They own
Rose,
all of Marvel.
Donna and Rose could be seen as Disney princesses.
Yes.
Ooh,
And
yes,
spoilers,
definitely.
there could be a new princess in Wild Blue Yonder as well. And believe me, it is not the one you're expecting.
Okay. All right then.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that brings us to our end for today.
Yes. Yeah.
So I hope all of you enjoyed this episode and that you'll consider subscribing on YouTube or your favorite podcatcher. And if you'd like to send us a little monetary support, please consider becoming a subscriber on Buzzsprout at 3dowho.buzzsprout.com. This is going to help us make content for you. And thanks for listening. And remember, there's no point in being grown up if you can't be childish sometimes.
That's very true. That's very true.
And I'm now off to go and enjoy a strip.
Okay. All right. That could be taken either way.
Yes.
Very much so. I enjoyed doing this episode with you. I do feel like the Doctor Who noob, and I will continue to feel like the Doctor Who noob on this podcast.
Oh, well, welcome to being around James.
Yes. Yes.
I constantly feel like a Doctor Who noob because like my memory is not fantastic when it comes to 60 years worth of stuff, but James seems to always pick out even the tiniest little things, and it's like, oh no, you're wrong there because this and this and this.
Right.
Like, oh gosh.
But then I could argue.
Just let me enjoy the Doctor.
Well, then I could just argue. Well, yes, but the continuity is all buggered up anyway, so who cares?
Yeah. Anyone who needs anyone who thinks continuity works should be fired out of a cannon.
Right. Yes.
David said it best: wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just a ball of just goodness.
It's fun. It's so much fun.
Yes,
so much fun. I'm gonna go watch the Wild Blue Yonder now.
Me too.
I will see.
Well, no, after I speak with my boyfriend, we're having a video call.
I will say nothing and say there were so many rumors. And not a single one of them got it right.
Nice.
Excellent.
I love it when that happens. I love that when that happens.
I like when that happens too, because it just surprises everybody.
So basically, between now and the next recording, I need to rewatch it, but kind of note down stuff scene by scene. Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that's a cooler way to do it.
Right. And I can't say what I really want to say now.
Well, all right. Do you gentlemen have any more to say to our listeners?
No.
Nope.
Other than by the this episode will be out on like December the 30th.
Yes.
So by the time this comes out, pretty much everything we've said about Doctor Who continuity will probably be wrong anyway.
Probably.
Yeah, completely rewritten.
Yep. And
that's okay though. It's still Doctor Who.
Long may it continue to be so.
Yes.
Yeah. I hope so too, because I love Doctor Who, and that's why we do this.